Hello, I'm James, Park Development Manager, James Briggs. You got in your packet the information about Ironwood Hills. It is a proposed addition just south side of Lindsay Street. If you've all been to Bentley Park, it is essentially north of the Bellatona neighborhood, sort of that big open space between Bellatona and Lindsay that you can see when you're standing in Bentley Park. They propose, if you go to the next one, that's, and I think is there two, that's like the top half, so the north half of that, go back, is Ironwood Hills, getting all my slides on there. So that's the entry from Lindsay Street. It's 299 single-family houses and 52 duplexes. You can see it spans that whole eighth of a section from Lindsay down to Bellatona, essentially. So, seeing that they have the Can You Go Back one, what they have proposed is in that neighborhood, and I don't have the exhibit on there, but you have it in your packet, a private park decision for this. The fact that it doesn't connect physically through the street system to Bellatona made us lean towards a private park decision. They have enough land shown on their plat in your packet in the green space to have a if you zoom in, there's a playground, basketball court, and then some green space around the detention pond. The detention pond does not count as parkland per the ordinance, but they have enough to do a private park decision. Other option would be a public park, but we don't really want a 2-acre park to maintain because we've resisted that all over town for many, many years, as to having tiny little parks everywhere. We'd much rather have larger parks. But a private park decision also fulfills that. Looking at everything they have on there, we think private park is a better decision than fee in lieu of land, because the people who live in this development can't physically get to Bentley Park, even though it's just a stone's throw away. You'd have to leave the development, get on Lindsay Street, somehow make your way over to 24th, go down to Highway 9, come back around. It's a convoluted way to get there. So seeing all that, and for safety reasons of kids not trying to take their bikes on East Lindsay and things like that, or walk in the bar ditch, we recommend a private park decision for Ironwood Hills, and I'll take any discussions, and a representative of developers here as well.
Okay. Any questions? So, again, I'm new at all of this. This says that we collect money from permits, right, and it goes towards care of parks, but we're asking, but they're offering to have a private park in lieu of paying the permit?
No, so we need to have a little Park Board 101 session, which we plan on doing with everybody, because there's two ordinances on the book for the city of Norman. One is a park land dedication ordinance. That's when they have to either give us land or do a private park or do a fee in lieu of land for the land they owe based on the number of people they're going to put in a neighborhood. So that is where they could potentially say, we want to do a fee in lieu of land. Oftentimes we will determine that there's plenty of parkland in an area, we don't need more parkland, and we don't want to have fragmented parks all over. So sometimes we will either have them do a fee in lieu, or they can do a private park decision. Sometimes they want to do private park decision either because they want to build and maintain stuff that we wouldn't do, like think of Trailwoods Addition and Greenleaf Trails up there in the northeast part of town. They have enormously long trail systems and big multimodal paths and all that. There's no way we were going to build that in a way. They went to they were way over the private parkland dedication needs, so they built that as a private park with public access, because it's also part of the legacy trail system, so that works out in a good way. But that's one ordinance. The second ordinance is the permit fees that we collect for each unit, whether it's an apartment or we don't collect them for commercial or industrial and that kind of stuff, but for all residential units, we collect $150 per unit, whether it's an apartment or a single-family house. Half of that money goes into the neighborhood park fund to help make improvements in the closest neighborhood park. The other half goes into the community park fund, which we can use in any of our community parks throughout town. If they do a private park decision here or anywhere in town, we do not collect the half of that fee, because we are not investing in the local neighborhood park. So we would only, if we do a private park decision, we'll only collect half of the permit fees, which are paid by the builders of the neighborhood. The developer has to give us land, commit private parkland, or give a fee in lieu of land. So that is what you're deciding on right now, is just as a caveat, I told you that if we do a private parkland, just reminding everyone that the city won't collect half of the permit fee because there's no neighborhood park that these people are contributing to.
If they give private parkland, they have to give double
Double the amount, yeah. We do it, there's a formula that we use to determine how, it's number of units times a nationally determined 2.62 people per residential unit, or 1.77 people if it's an apartment. I don't know how they come up with the National Rec and Park formula that we use, so it's number of units times that many people, depending on the housing type, times 0.0025 acres, being that it's 2,500 people per acre is sort of the housing threshold for each acre of park would serve that.
You just say things just to make my eyes.
I'm just giving facts, lady.
So we're still, I mean, like you said here, community park development fees are still being collected.
Yes.
Those other ones that aren't being collected. And the public, you said it's private parks, the public cannot actually live in that neighborhood?
Well, it will serve that neighborhood. If, I mean, it's up to them how they want to enforce it. Like, if you go out to Cambridge Edition, we have Kevin Gottschall Park right there. Well, across the street from that park is a big lake with a walking trail, and they fish on it. That's a private lake for that neighbor, and they have little signs posted. And depending on what day you catch Daryl Janaway out there, you might say, hey, buddy, you live here? You know, that they can control private parkland however they want. But like with Little River Trails or Greenleaf Trails, people all day long ride their bikes through that neighborhood and have a grand old time because it's a private park with public access. If they want to make the neighborhood gated and all that, it's a whole different issue that city council approves or disapproves as far as gated community. I think Fountain View is gated. There's not very many gated communities, but private park, it basically gives them private maintenance because a lot of times developers and or builders want to build a park that has like daily maintenance and daily attendance. We will never do that because we have too many park acres, not enough maintenance staff to go around maintaining every park every day or stopping by. So sometimes they prefer to do a private park and control the maintenance of it themselves. So this one we're recommending because the physical location of this neighborhood is kind of cut off from all other public parks unless you leave that neighborhood and go searching for the public park. Anyway, so that's where we land on that.
So again, for just a point of clarity, since I'm new to this as well, you are making the recommendation that this goes forward.
That the park solution is this. We're not recommending that the neighborhood get built or anything.
Sure.
We're saying that if the neighborhood gets built like it's being platted, we would think the best park solution is what we're recommending to be a private park. So that's it. We just do a recommendation. You can accept it or reject it. We've had cases in the past where different, where it doesn't happen often, but there've been other thoughts from park board, but we're trying to give you as much information to make, because sometimes you literally ask, well, what would you all do? So this is, preemptively, this is what we all would do, but you're the board, so you decide. Yes?
So I can see by looking at the current development plus what is proposed that there are streets that are along the boundaries or off boundaries. Is the eventual idea to connect all the development within these two quadrants?
You want to speak to that, Sean?
Okay, okay.
Yeah, sure, happy to speak to that. Thank you for the question, Commissioner. Are you talking about the stub streets? And I'm sorry, we don't have it.
Yeah, stub streets.
Go to the next one. You see one of them.
Development, it looks
Yeah.
north of that circle, and then
You
there
can see it.
Look at the bottom one, you can see there's, well, like along,
Yeah,
yeah, there's,
I don't have
there's
the,
Rosa Pass, I think.
that's right.
Yeah, right there, at
Yep.
Yeah.
Teagan Way, dead end, but across property lines.
So that's, is that Lindsay, that,
No, that's Bellatona to the west.
That's right, Peloton.
And that's the intention is you can kind of see on the screen up there, Bellatona has a street going north-south,
Yeah,
but that's not built yet.
yeah.
But that is planned to be built, but we don't have any idea when they will build that.
I understand.
So, but that is the intention, that we will connect to that when it's built, but the discussion was we don't have any idea when. So in the meantime, we would propose the private parkland, which satisfies, but hopefully we connect that, and then you would be able to get over to that park pretty quick. But that doesn't defray the private park, we would still do that, yeah,
I was just curious.
yeah.
Good catch.
And if the time comes that the road gets built before they start doing any building, then they can come back to
Correct, we can amend decision if they.
which would be a great decision, but
Just as it stands now, we can't say for sure that the kids and families living in Ironwood Hills be able to get on a street and go a tenth of a mile to Bentley Park. Right now, they've got to go about 1.5 miles to do a circuitous route in a bar ditch to get there, and it just seems like the wrong answer, so.
Any other questions? Is there any motion concerning this item?
Motion we approve the private park recommendation
Except
for.
private park recommendation. Second. Any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion to accept the private park decision on this for Imores Hills. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Item 5, consideration of the acceptance, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of a donation in the amount of $58,625 for building improvements at the Reeves Park Building located at 121 East Constitution.
We'll try to knock this out real quick. CCFI, which runs the Boys and Girls Club for Cleveland County, back in 2023, we did out an RFP for the Reeves, what I always call the Garden Center, but it's probably better known as the Teen Center. That was its original purpose. CCFI did come back with a proposal, basically turn that back into a teen center, which was its original purpose. It's taken a long time, but they've been waiting on some grants and other things to come through here to fully fund a renovation of the building, because the building was in pretty rough shape. This is one of, they already went through there and did some work to the kitchen. This is a proposal to go through here and add some more amenities and redo some things inside Reeves building. If you kind of look at this price list, it does have a dumpster for demolition, putting in a new water bottle filler, furniture installed a new door frame which would separate the entry to a classroom and the kitchen, do some work in the restrooms, some sheetrock work, lighting work with LED lights, and some new flooring. That all comes in at $58,000, along with some video surveillance and new alarm and access control. The reason this comes back to you is that any improvements done to any of these city properties through our operators that you cannot take with you, it becomes a donation because it now belongs to us as part of the contract. So we're basically come to you to get a recommendation from you to accept this donation on the behalf of the city. So, love to answer any of the questions. They did originally put in a fence. We had to remove that portion. They wanted to do an area for gardening. Right now, their contract kind of restricts them to do that, so they would have to come back and renegotiate their contract before we give them more area and make sure that we want to put a fence garden area with a stockade fence. We want to make sure it doesn't become an eyesore too, so there has to be some and maintenance. We have to make sure there's a fall machine and that gets put in our contract that will allow them to come back and make that offer to us. But love to answer any questions about this. I'm very excited to get this building back to its original purpose of a teen center, and this is just one of the steps along that way.
So they've not been able to use it before, or they stored it in this in?
They haven't used that much. They went in there and redid the kitchen, and that was it. And I think this is basically we'll get the building and they kind of shape that they can actually start doing programming.
Do you have a timeline? I don't want to cut you by next quarter.
Yes, I think that's a big part of it. They want to get this done before the summer and get ready to roll. We're hoping to get it for this school year. We just red tape and working with bureaucracies. Sometimes we're slow and didn't have enough time to get ready before this past school year. So, yes, let me answer your question. We wanted to get back to you because we are ready to, the schools have already acted on this with their school board. They're ready to move on with this exchange, but the land exchange subjects includes Norman Public Schools property of north half of High Meadow Park. And in exchange, the parks will give them the east half of 12th Avenue's backlot and the south end of Woodlawn Park, which they already have a playground built on, so it kind of makes sense that that belongs to them. If you look at these tracks, this is over near Eisenhower and 12th Avenue. We are talking about giving them the southern property right there at 12th Avenue that kind of connects back to Eisenhower. They do want to build a parking lot. We had, after they went through their full school board discussions, they ended up wanting to make sure they have a little bit more even of a trade. This is a closer look. So we went ahead and added the southern half of those tennis courts in there. We will have to go along with this, a 10-year use in this, guaranteed use in this land exchange, use those tennis courts. After the 10-year use, it goes to a month after that. We are hoping that eventually that on a Norman Ford 2, we get an opportunity to build a new 12th Avenue Rec Center, and that would change the paths of those tennis courts and pickleball courts over there, and probably rebuild those not as close to those neighbors because it does become a nuisance sometimes. If you look over there on the right side of the screen, that's track 3. That is the northern half of High Meadows. Fun fact that I always like to throw out there in some of these, we currently mow that, but we do not own that. Our hope is that we get that piece of property, High Meadows. We'll come back to you for another action at another time.
Wow.
I got hot real quick. Basically, to take that track 3 in High Meadows and make it part of Northeast. Basically, do away with High Meadows. Move our playground. If it is kind of where it's over there by the pond. If you kind of see that little gray area right there. We do need to build a new playground. It is funded in Norman Ford to build a new playground. That playground, as it currently sits, is a very highly vandalized because this doesn't have a street view. We found the closer that we can move our playgrounds to a street, the more or lower likely of vandalism that will happen. So our thoughts is basically to melt or encumber High Meadows and Northeast Lines and hopefully put the playground somewhere over there. What would be somewhere on the former High Meadows property, and that would be Northeast Lines Park. This also, as we're going through the Norman Ford program, we do have a little bit of money set aside for each park. This will save us a dash of money because we won't technically have to make improvements to High Meadows any longer, and those would be spent on possibly making the playground a little bit better and grander. To kind of add on this one, I think our next photo here is we did go back to the most recent
Rec Center built
in the Oklahoma City area. That's Willow D. Johnson. We grabbed the size exactly of Willow D. Johnson and wanted to make sure that we still had enough property left there at 12th Avenue to build that. And I believe Willow D is a 34,000 square foot rec center. So if we go to the next slide, you kind of look all the way to your left. If we build a 34,000 square foot rec center over there on 12th Avenue, it would fit perfectly right there, and you kind of see that green space right before we get the playgrounds. We still would have enough space to move tennis courts and pickleball courts right there behind 12th Avenue, what would be the new 12th Avenue. So just making sure in mind that we do have enough room, which we do to possibly to renovate or build a new rec center out there, so we're not giving away too much property, and the use for Eisenhower would be to extend the parking lot a little bit farther that way, which will also become a future use for 12th Avenue, that new rec center at 12th Avenue on weekends or nights, because it will gain bonus parking area.
I was gonna say, could we move the existing parking back to it too?
Yeah, we can do whatever we want when we start designing
I mean,
it.
that, to me, that would be often.
And that was just basically, real quick, we contacted the architect. It was the same architect that designed the YPAC, like, hey, show us what a 34,000 square foot building or the same size as Willow D. Johnson would look like on that property. So you could technically turn that building any way you want to. You could move tennis courts to where the parking lot is currently, or you could have, what is newer in designs is basically putting your building in front and the parking areas in back, which is nice to shield that from, people won't necessarily, walking by, having cars parked there, kind of a little bit safer for people parking. This kind of all advantages for that, looks nicer from the street. Going on to a little bit more of the land exchange, and this is just basically cleaning up property. Like I said, they already built a playground on. Their playground currently extends onto that lot 34B. And the reason we call it lot 34B, that's how it was described inside of 31B, my bad. That's how it was described by the land surveyor that did. For a little bit more acreage. They wanted to try to get that a little bit closer to being an even land exchange. But that's kind of what we're thinking. The next step is, after you, is to get this all written up and taken to the council. Council didn't have any objections to it. They haven't taken a vote on it. And of course, anything that has to do with parks, we want to make sure that we get the thumbs up of our residents representing the Parks Department before we make any movement on that. So I'd love to take any questions on that.
And they just got the rec centers for free, so
Correct.
there's a little bit more than the 2 acres.
That, I didn't want to mention that, but that was mentioned by us, of course, when we were kind of going into talks like this. And there's several more things that we're working with the schools that you'll see in the future. One we have to go back and, we did give the rec centers, we do have to go back to them and basically lease space back for them for our after-school and childcare programs. And we are in talks of going into a MOU or kind of an easement agreement for all of their playgrounds to be open to the public in exchange for us helping maintain some of their playgrounds.
I have a question, just to clarify. So could you go back to Eisenhower? One more, right there. So if I understand correctly, those two rectangles bounded in red to the west of Eisenhower, that's going to go to Eisenhower, plus Lot 31B to Adams. And in exchange, the Parks Board is going to get, is it track 3?
Correct.
Okay, I just
So
wanted
those
to
two,
make sure.
everything that you see crosses on is going to become school property. Anything that does not have those tracks crosses on it is going to become city property. And like I said, this was originally kicked around, but I never even thought of this, but it was kicked around by, I blame James and Wade for this idea, and I like the idea a lot. And it was all about, we could not figure out a great space or a place to put that playground at Northeast Lions, because they did not have a whole lot of frontage road next to streets.
Very good. I think it's a great idea. What about the tennis courts there in that?
So if you, our hope is, part of the land exchange is that we'll have access to those tennis courts on the southern half,
Yes,
or west half.
West half.
Sorry. Got to start putting the arrows on there. We'll have access to that for the next 10 years. And after the 10 years expires, we'll have a month-to-month contract on that.
very good.
Pickleball courts or tennis courts?
There's 6 pickleball courts and 2 tennis courts.
So you're taking out the tennis and there's only legal pickleball?
We're not taking anything out right now.
Well,
We'll lease it back from them.
sorry, it wasn't.
Like I said, the thought is that when we rebuild 12th Avenue, that we would totally rebuild tennis altogether over there.
Yeah.
Take them all out and rebuild.
We're hoping within 10 years that we won't need any of that area over there right now, because it is a nuisance to those people that live over there
But for the moment, those will continue to be accessible to,
for the next decade.
for the
Yes.
venues.
At $1 a year, which means free. Yeah, we're not.
They're not lit, apparently, in the daytime or something, trying to help
So
buffer.
does the school use them?
I don't think that they use those during the day.
They kind of stay over in the playground and everything over there. We have a little playground nearby, both have them.
The pickleball courts are probably the most used paddle courts that we have in Norman currently, besides Westwood. And those are the ones that create the nuisance problem for those neighbors right there directly to the west of them.
It's the noise and the trash.
Yeah, pickleball, pickleball, you can watch any news stories or Google the noise of pickleball, and it's not a Norman problem, it's a pickleball problem throughout the country.
So, because you do talk about wanting to renovate the 12th Avenue Rec Center, but we don't own it anymore, but that's still sort of.
No, we own 12.
12th we own is Whittier and Irving we don't own. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
Any other comments, discussion? Okay, do I have a motion to accept this land exchange as been presented? Thank you, Billy. Any second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Christie. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Item 7, annual report from Little Axe Youth Sports.
I don't believe that we have any here. We
moved it from last time.
moved it from last time, and we made several attempts to get a hold of them this time.
Okay.
Actually emailed me today at 11:30 and said that he would be here.
And we don't see anybody, so it's probably, we can wait until the end of the meeting, see if he shows up, and if not, we can postpone.
Okay. Item 8, Norman Forward update.
Norman Forward update, there's not a whole lot going on with Norman Forward right now. I think that you can see some of our intentions over there at Northeast Lions Park. We're hoping to build a playground. Besides that, we have William Morgan that is almost done. Everything, the only thing we lack is the turf being completed out there.
No, I think it's just sidewalks.
It's just sidewalks at this point.
It just started raining, so we can't finish. A little wet.
And William Morgan's one of our parks that does retain quite a bit of water. Anything else that I know that you're.
Saxon, we're waiting on a final set of drawings, kind of out of bid.
Correct, and Saxon, we're still, as far as we know, at 95% drawings. I think that they are still waiting on final directions on how the city wants to move forward with that road that's out front. And then once we get that done, we'll take that to bid and hopefully start constructing that soon.
All right. Item number 9, division update.
I'll do recreation. Mitchell had something pop up, so he's not here tonight. Mom Prom is Saturday at the Noun. Thank you. For some reason, I wrote Legacy Park right next to it. I was like, that's not right. So Mom Prom is at the Noun on Saturday. It's really cool. So an event kind of based off of our daddy-daughter dance, but this one's just more open. Moms can take whoever they like. They can take daughter, nephew, son. Then even after that, we have an adults-only version that they can bring partner, whoever they want to bring to that one. We even have the Noun even worked us up specialty drinks for that final dance. So it's a cool little thing to go hang out for. And if you remember back to our survey, adult programming is one of the things that we needed to work on. So that's one of our adult programs we do throw out there. We do have a 5K also this weekend. It's May the 4th Be With You 5K. It's out at Legacy Park. That's probably the reason Legacy Park is written right there.
So it's at Legacy and not Ruby Grant?
Correct. Road race, thank goodness, because this weekend would not be a fun weekend to be running a trail run out at Legacy Park unless you had your mud shoes.
Ruby Grant.
Ruby Grant.
Ruby Grant. Yes. And if you want some good entertainment, there's been a few commercials or a few short videos we've been popping onto our Facebook page. It involves some of the Star Wars characters as you know them. I think we even had somebody, a Jedi, get tackled in our hallway yesterday. Kids to the Park Day is coming up on May 17th at Bentley Park. Kids to the Park Day is something we started probably about, actually during COVID, about 4 years ago. We try to get as many kids out to a specific neighborhood park every year. This is a very cool program because usually we don't do special events in our neighborhood parks, so we try to get to change areas of town. We're doing it in every single time. Bentley Park is our newest neighborhood park. So that'll be on May 17th from 10 to 12. Hope to see everybody out there. And just to remind you, summer's almost here. Westwood Family Aquatic Center passes are not now on sale, and scholarship applications have opened. So if you need financial assistance, we have those forms on our website.
James?
Well, there's no microphone, I want to stand up. I'm back there, stuck in the back. A lot of things going on with park development. As you know, we administer the forestry program as well. So we had a meeting today, one of several stakeholder meetings with the Urban Forest Master Plan, which is moving forward. We met with developers today, that was interesting, on Zoom. Is it bringing me a live mic? Oh, there it is. I can go like a game show. So everybody says? So we're doing our Urban Forest Master Plan, continuing on that. That will go to council study session soon to talk about, because that's going to be the guiding document for our forestry program for the next 15 years, we hope, as far as how we tend and grow and take care of our urban forests. Also, had a meeting this week looking at a first draft of the wildfire Community Wildfire Protection Plan, CWPP. Everything has an acronym. So that's something we're working on with the fire department to be fire-wise and fire-ready, and kind of it loops into forestry, although a lot of the implementation will go through fire, but forestry is certainly a big help, especially in the wildland stuff. Surprisingly, they didn't find a whole lot of evidence of wildland fires in urban Norman, but there was quite a bit more of them out by the lake and along the river and things like that. But that'll be coming forward too. We got a draft of that going through. Staffing news, because I now have a mic. As you recall, our Bethany Grissom, who was our park planner, left. She can stand up. This is our new park planner, Megan Phelan. So we successfully stole her from private practice where she worked up in Oklahoma City for a landscape architecture firm. I don't know if you want to say anything other than yay, but hi, Megan. Tell us about yourself. You live in Norman?
I do, yes.
There you go. So she is on her day 4, so she's holding on as the roller coaster takes her around, and I just talk about 1,000 years of park history every day to her, and she goes, "What? Why did that happen? You buried the bodies where?" No, that's not. So,
Park, there's coffin out there.
yeah, that's out of Griffin. Bike to Work Day is coming up too. That's sort of something we're peripherally involved in. We're trying to loop that in with Kids to Park Day weekend, kind of make some more outdoor festival-y stuff out of that. But we're going to hopefully have the bike map updated soon after a million years of not being done and updated. Out at Westwood, we are trying to work on getting the last couple of courts resurfaced on the outdoor tennis courts, getting a new sign on the indoor building. The old one's kind of fallen apart, and then work on updating the lights out there as part of the 3rd year of a program of improvements we've been doing out there. YFAC, again, rain. We're this close to opening the new outdoor pickleball and sand volleyball courts. The lights for those facilities, plus the turf field that Norman Regional built out there, sort of a little mini football field, all that will now be lit and open and available for public use soon. We still have a lot of landscape and finish up to do, and again, the lights aren't technically connected. We're waiting on OG&E to do a final inspect and connect to get all that turned on, so it's not publicly used yet, but that will hopefully take some of the pressure off Westwood for people saying, you need to put more pickleball at Westwood. It's like, it's a tennis facility, and it's a USTA certified tennis facility, so we can't just, on a whim, convert it to pickleball. But anyway, that's a whole deep dive discussion. As you saw, we're trying to finalize things with the land swap, and once that happens, we'll move on to do our next neighborhood park renovation at Northeast Lions. Many other things, so there's a lot of other things going on, but I can't think of them at the moment.
How did Lions Park fare with the
It's okay. Lions Park floods periodically when we get torrential rains like we just did, or not even torrential, but just long-term rain. So the channel that runs through there floods. Lately, we've just been putting sandbags all along the tot lot so the turf doesn't ripple up, and it seemed to work this time. So it wasn't a, 6 inches in 1 hour. It was more like 14 inches over the course of several days. So it did flow out of its banks a few times, but it wasn't as torrential. So we seemed to survive all right. We did get someone's recycle bin flowed into the park and split open. So we had just everyone's recycling all when the waters went down. It looked like there'd been a garbage dump from space and landed there. But we got that cleaned up. Actually, the neighbor came and got most of their stuff. It's like, hey, there's all my stuff. That one did okay. Jason has some video on his phone of Andrews Park flowing like a river because it has that same channel.
Looks like a river rapids.
Yeah, I mean, it had some white water going through Andrews Park there in the heaviest part of the day the other day. But
I noticed a picture of Andrews Park on Facebook the other day with the skate park, with all the graffiti.
yeah, June 9th, a crew is coming from American Ramp Company, and we're going to address some methods to help us be able to better clean graffiti. If that doesn't work, we may come up with a proposal to get some artists locally to do professional graffiti in there. It's not the first choice we made. And it's in the bowl. It's in the part that you can't see it until you get up on that top part. But you don't want to you don't want to pressure wash it because then you start scarring the surface. It's not very skatable and it takes away from its use. So you want it to still be a smooth, skatable surface, but you also want to be able to, there's some chemicals you can use to remove it. It's some of the stuff they've used to write on there is very resistant to the removal chemicals. So we're working on a system to maybe address it with some other methods with the professionals that do this all over the country. So it's a problem, but we're working on the best solution for it.
Aren't there some already, like professional or purposeful graffiti there? Was that?
Well, that was the old skate park, the street course, the steel. So we took that when we built the new one, and we split those up and sent them all over town. There's one at Oak Tree South, there's some at Atkins Crossing. Colonial Commons has several pieces. So they do have local graffiti artists did paint all those, and they probably could stand on them. But we're working with the Norman Arts Council, and we will work with them more if we want to do the whole bowl. It's a big canvas if you want to do the entire bowl. And it's, you have to shut the park down to do it because you got to, pre-treat and you got to get it done. But yeah, we know that's happening. We go and clean it as often as we can. And skaters kind of police each other, because they want to skate in the bowl. They don't want someone standing there doing graffiti. So we don't know the final outcome, but we could go one of two ways. We can just keep trying to clean it, and then you can paint it with a different surface, just one single color that's more with a type of surfacing paint that is easier to clean, theoretically. Or we can kind of go down the path of let's try and organize some professional graffiti, which seems to deter people from messing up because they kind of respect the art that's there and don't write dirty words and pictures on it if they have professional graffiti. That's been the case in the parts that you've seen, the ones that are all over town. There's occasionally someone go along there and paint something and we can clean over, but it doesn't nearly get graffiti as much as a blank canvas does. We also planted several trees in Griffin Park along Robinson Street. At the parking lots, there are some smaller trees under the power lines, but they are smoke trees and buckthorn and things that will only get, 10 to 12 feet tall, and the power lines are, 18 feet up. So we are trying to promote citywide and with all the utility companies, the right tree, right place. So you can plant some things under power lines. You just need to plant the right. And then further back by the parking lot, we planted, elms and oak and bigger trees that will get bigger and put shade on the parking lot, but they're 50 to 70 feet away from the power lines. So lots of things, and we're irrigating several trees and parks and all that stuff. So that's park development.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
The graffiti at the skate park, was it offensive?
Some of it is. Some of it's just people. Some of it's just tagging names. Some of them say things, and there's occasional anatomical drawings that we don't want to leave there. So.
Did I see a shade structure
Yes.
out there? Excellent.
That went up over the winter, right before Bethany. That's one of the last things she was working on. Is we had an Eagle Scout come along and wanted to do a project. Yeah, and we bought the structure, but they helped with the paying for the concrete pad and bought some benches and stuff. So yeah, we've always wanted to do shade. The original plan had an option to either do shade or lights, And the skaters overwhelmingly went for lights because they want to skate later, and a lot of them are adults that work during the day, and people want to skate in the winter. So yeah, we finally got our first piece of shade over there, and we want to do many more pieces of shade as we hopefully get into an Andrews Park master plan renovation.
We also had a skunk rescue
What?
on Sunday from the skate park. A skunk
Oh, really?
got stuck in the lower bowl and we couldn't get out, and animal
Do we have a pool
welfare-
net? Was that the way we did it? Like
And
it's
animal welfare came and got the skunk out
nice.
without getting sprayed somehow.
Excellent.
Oh, I thought it got stuck in like a drain.
No, you just
That was
couldn't,
the bowl.
Well, they couldn't get out of the, it couldn't get out of the.
couldn't crawl up
bowl.
the sides of the bowl.
Okay. Well, I know it was in the bowl, and that's where I saw the graffiti, because they were showing the picture of the skunk in the bowl. And
Excellent. Didn't know that one. That's park maintenance's update.
Yeah, park maintenance. Well, park maintenance too, just want to remind everybody, they're going to be behind, you're going to see grass growing like crazy in our parks, and it's going to get high. But it's our friendly yearly reminder that most of our parks are in the lowest areas of all the neighborhoods. And usually that's the drainage ditches or the drainage areas of the parks. And when a builder donates or a developer donates a section to us, it's usually not buildable, even though it's all the parts, and you got the coolest trees and everything in that area, because that's where all the water goes when it rains. So we're probably looking at, it might take us about, if it does quit raining sometime in the future, it'll probably take us about a month to catch up on that. And we're probably gonna go rent some mowers and have people working 10-hour days and 6 days a week to get caught up for a few weeks.
I know we no longer have a vector control program.
We still technically do have a vector
Okay.
control program, we just don't no longer spray.
Spray. It might be prudent to put out a press release about dumping water, and because I'm sure it's going to start getting hot, we're going to have a big
Yeah,
mosquito issue with all this rain we've had.
Yes, and we can prep that for sure. So our mosquito program or vector control program, we still do everything the same way. We actually got newer traps recently, and we're no longer using neighborhood or houses to kind of do it. We found out as the process evolved, when you started talking about vector control, usually the people who volunteered kept their lawns pretty well manicured, and we even had one lady that went out there and made sure that, like, Mosquito Joe came out there on a bi-weekly area and sprayed for it, so we never got it. So we didn't feel like we were getting accurate readings. Now we have smaller mosquito traps that can be ran off of, they're like gas cells. You put them in there, you go fill them up with propane, and you change them out, and they run for about 2 weeks on that little thing of propane, and we can put them anywhere. So we've been able to find some city-owned land, and we have 2 in each. Instead of doing districts, we have 2 in each ward, and we can move those around to different parks or city-owned properties, or even working with the county or the state to put them on areas. And then if we get a high, a lot of times the best way to know that we're having problems is that, somebody on the far west side of town, we'll start getting nonstop phone calls from this certain section of town, so we can go out there and place a trap out there and hopefully get some information. And when we get 50 or more females for
3 days in a row.
3 days straight, then we'll do a public education process where we'll work with the county to get out there and hand out the donuts and other different things that can help us with mosquito control. And instead of that, the spray doesn't do very well with your bees, and most people don't want that landing on their home gardens and things like that, and we kind of agree with them.
Any other miscellaneous items? Okay. Public comments. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the Norman Board of Parks Commissioners. Due to Open Meeting Act regulations, the commissioners are not able to participate in discussion during public comments. Remarks should be directed to the commissioners as a whole and limited to 3 minutes or less. Is there anybody that has any public comments? If I have a question, you can't answer it, right?
Yeah.
We can try to answer it.
You were talking about the water flow and everything.
Can you come up to the?
Paul. Oh,
And you need to give,
I need a microphone.
and you need to give your name
Oh,
and
Kelly
address.
Callahan, 509 Terrace Place, Ward 2, I think. Who do you call for the creeks and all the shopping carts and everything that are in the creeks?
Best probably just so you can get as much word out as fast as possible is like action.center@normanok.gov, or you can call the Action Center, and when they receive a complaint, they actually send it out to
And
multiple
then they come and
departments.
clean up the creek from the,
If it's city-owned property, they'll come and do their best to clean it up, or when they can get to
okay,
it. Right
tell
now,
me
everything's
again,
super soft.
Action,
Action.center@normanok.gov.
okay, that's it.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Any other comments? We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Yay.